The Thing by Brian A. Bendall. I once set out to make a fiend, a gruesome thing that no one's seen, a massive gore of teeth and claws, with 16 eyes and monster paws. Before I started out to cook, I checked out first my potions book. With some touches of my own, I knew I'd hear my monster moan. I finally found the perfect pot, huge and black and rusted not, to place it on a fire bright, and waited for the dark of night. The darkness came none too soon, and in the shining of the moon I began my task with hopes to fix the makings of my monster mix. I filled the pot half full with grease, and so began my monster piece. I added pints of castor oil and waited for my mix to boil. I put in 5 potato eyes, a chicken's tooth, and watched it rise. A lock of hair, a roach, a worm. I stirred it so it would not burn. Beetle guts, hornet's feet, fingernails, rancid meat, a turtle's toes, a garter snake. So far this was a piece of cake. Then I put in weasel liver, a centipede, a caterpillar, 7 hairs from top a fly, a horse's tongue, a lizard's eye, oxen hooves and turkey neck, a gremlin's ear, just a speck, maggot slime, a walrus knuckle. It smelled so good I had to chuckle. I listened to it curl and tip. I took a spoon and had a sip, and as I heard it bump and crunch, I settled back to have my lunch. I put the lid on good and tight. I let it simmer all that night, and all that day I let it brew, and next night and the next day too. Then that night the moment came to see if I had worked in vain. I pried the lid with tender care, wondering what I'd find in there. I held my breath, peeked inside. I saw it, and I burst with pride. I threw the lid aside at last, and danced around the pot of gas. And through the gas the creature rose, with 16 eyes, a big black nose, fangs, hair, and 10-inch claws, warts, lice, and monster paws. It groaned, it gasped, it grunted too. Just why it lived I wish I knew. It must be luck, a chance, a fluke. I chose a name, and called it Duke. "Here, Duke," I called with outstretched hand. Did it really understand? It did, for Duke complied. It looked so good I almost cried. With happy eyes I watched it slip, squirm, slide, slither and dip. Slow at first, then like a shot, Duke turned round and ate the pot. It ate the table and the chair, and my book are laying there. Then it ate my frying pans, my overcoat, my garbage cans, my couch, my lamps, my stove, my suit. I have to say it did look cute. But was this monster in my mind? Did I create a Frankenstein? My telephone and TV set. But Duke, I wasn't finished yet. My shower, toilet, tub and sink, my sanity was on the brink. Then Duke stopped, to my surprise, and looked at me with thankful eyes. I never dreamed it'd be so wild. Duke cocked its head, and then it smiled. Today it's eaten all I own. I barely even have a home. So I'm worried by one thing, you see. It's that one day Duke might eat